The spring season of 2024 is almost here, and it's time to go through a pile of mass-produced garbage in a hope of finding at least one half-decent show to kill your time. So to save you trouble, I went through all the anime that will be released this spring and singled out 7 new shows, 1 reboot, and 1 ongoing series you need to catch up to. Maybe I'm being too harsh, but going through these shows, I couldn't find a single one that stands out. Isekai is once again the most dominant genre, and it doesn't seem like they are bringing anything new. Other anime seem unoriginal and soulless, like they exist only to make money by giving the audience a lot of action while putting minimal effort into characters and story. Of course, we can't write them off right away, they are yet to be released, but judging by the premise alone, the upcoming season won't be great. So pay close attention to the shows I picked out and hope I haven't fucked this up.
バーテンダーという言葉の意味をご存知ですか?
Hidden away in the back streets of Ginza, the mysterious bar Eden Hall attracts a diverse clientele. Not everyone will notice it, but to those with the most intricate thoughts, Eden Hall will always show itself. And there, waiting for the troubled guest, is Ryusa Sakura, a talented bartender who always knows which cocktail will console and guide each lost soul. If I had to describe this show in just one word, solely based on the premise and poster, it would be classy. The energy that the story gives is calm but also elegant. Watching the trailer, you feel like you are in the bar yourself, drinking a cocktail and spilling your life story, hoping to get drunk so the next day you can blame it all on alcohol. All of us felt like this at certain points, so the idea of a hidden bar where we can get it all out without judgment is, for a lack of better word, appealing. It also reminds me of Dead Parade, just without a supernatural element. I believe this anime will be episodic as well, and that each episode will tell a story that will focus on the qualities and flaws that make us human. If you are a fan of static stories that focus on characters, I believe that Bartender is for you.
私は先輩に一目惚れをしました。
Yori Asanagi is a girl you would describe as more mature than her peers. However, this doesn't apply when it comes to love, which she doesn't know much about, but certainly desires. Her innocence when the subject comes up is shown when her underclassmate, Himari Kino, confesses love to her after a concert where she performed. Completely confused by this event, Yori seeks advice from her friends, who explain to the naive girl that what she feels right now is love. Making up her mind, Yori decides to return these feelings to Himari. But this conversation goes in a completely different direction when Yori realizes that Himari is not in love with her, but her music. However, this doesn't stop Yori, who decides to make Himari fall in love with her. As a huge Yuri fan, I was thrilled, to say the least, when I heard that this manga would get an anime adaptation. It is a sweet and innocent story about 2 girls learning what love is and how to show it. One of the main motives of the story is music, through which love is most often expressed. It's one thing to read about it, as you can't really experience music through manga, so I'm excited to finally hear Whisper Me a Love Song. As I read the manga, I can tell you that this is one of the most beautiful romances I know, and I can guarantee you it will be among the best this year. If you are a fan of anime and manga blooming to you, you will probably like Whisper Me a Love Song as well, as these two have some similar elements.
外から光を溜め込んだら自分でも輝けるようになるの。
In Shibuya, a city full of identities, 4 young and unusual women decide to find what they enjoy. But they cannot shine on their own, so their only chance is to do it together. That's why one evening, illustrator, former idol, VTuber, and composer joined forces and created an anonymous artist group named Jelly. Out of all the new anime, this one caught my eye first. It really stood out to me primarily because of the art style, which I instinctively associate with some thoughtless cutesy fantasy of middle-aged dweebs. However, as the thought crossed my mind, I remembered one of my favorite shows, Princess Principal. I had the same opinion about that series, only for it to become one of my favorites of all time. That's why I decided to give Jellyfish a chance, and let me tell you, the premise and trailer didn't disappoint. I'm a sucker for self-discovery stories about failed artists, so this may be a little biased, but I truly believe this could be one of the best new shows this season. In a time when life goes too fast and we don't have enough time to focus on things that are important to us, this anime is a breath of fresh air. The feeling that we don't have a purpose and that we have failed in life is a constant phenomenon among young people, and if this anime manages to incorporate it in the right way, it could be a truly amazing story.
金のカラス
In the world of Yamochi live Yatagarasu, a clan that has the ability to turn into crows. Yuki is a young Yatagarasu who, as the second son of regional leader, doesn't stand out at all. That's why the decision to make him the servant of the young prince surprised everyone. Upon getting on duty, Yuki becomes entangled in a web of political conspiracies, attempting to overthrow the heir to the imperial throne. At the same time, he becomes close to the prince and they form an unusual relationship. Not gonna lie, the whole strange master-servant relationship part threw me off, and I'm done with all of the over-sexualized shit of the anime industry. So that's why I did a quick research. I didn't find anything suspicious among tags, and the source material seems okay, so it's safe to say that this is a normal seinen about political conspiracies and meaningful relationships. If that's the case, this will be by far the most interesting action of the season. The animation looks beautiful and goes really well with the unique art style. Judging by the trailer, the relationship between the main characters is one of the main focuses, and it almost always guarantees great character arcs. I wasn't very satisfied with the action anime this spring, but this one really gives me hope and I believe you should check it out.
まさかこの日、何気なく差し出した傘が
Hotaru Hinase is a nice and kind girl who values her family and friends above everything. However, she finds it difficult to understand romance, which is why she decides to live without experiencing falling in love. This changes when she witnesses the breakup of popular honor student Hananoi. After he is left alone in the snow, Hotaru approaches him and, as an act of kindness, gives him her umbrella. The next day, Hananoi comes to her classroom and suddenly confesses his love for Hotaru. And even though she refuses to be his girlfriend, Hananoi stays by her side and tries to win her over with selfless gestures. Over time, Hotaru begins to feel emotions that are completely unknown to her, and believing that these feelings will become love, she agrees to date Hananoi. Is this a generic love story? And have we seen similar ones hundreds of times? Yes. Yes, it is generic, and we have seen it a little too many times. But this is also a shoujo anime, and we get them once in a blue moon, so I believe we should appreciate them more. I miss the energy that Kimi ni Todoke and similar anime had, which is why I had to include this series. After all, sometimes we should give sweet stories a chance and take a break from all the action-packed shows we watch all the time. And since most of you will never experience falling in love, you should at least watch it in the hope of filling the never-ending void in your soul.
そういうお話も聞きたいわ。
What if fairy tales didn't exist, or rather, if they were made a little darker? That's what the Grimm Variations will try to show. This Netflix original will tell alternate versions of the 6 famous fairy tales by Brothers Grimm. Each episode will cover one tale, including Cinderella, Little Red Riding Hood, Hansel and Gretel, The Elves and the Shoemaker, The Town Musicians of Bremen, and Piped Piper and Hamelin. Usually, I'm against recycling already successful stories because I think it's a cheap and lazy way to make money. However, when an old story is given a new glow, that's a different thing. I think this is a very fun way to approach the story, and I believe it requires a lot of creativity. It gives a new perspective, and it's always interesting to think of what could have been. I just hope that these darker versions are not some edgy nonsense that is trying to present gore as the pinnacle of complexity and maturity. But then again, isn't it Netflix's whole brand?
いや、じいさま、あれ見てけろ。
お、金色のリンゴだ。
Shozo and Ine Saito are a happily married old couple whose love has passed the test of time. Although old and not at full strength, the two live a happy and fulfilling life and love each other just as much as when they met. One morning, however, they wake up young again, but even though they are in full strength, healthy and with young and attractive bodies, the two are same as ever. It's only that they get the opportunity to experience the charms of youth together once again. This is a simple story, and the only reason I'm recommending it is because it's wholesome. I was on verge of tears when I read the premise. Everything is just so beautiful. Like, just imagine grandma and grandpa who have been together their whole lives, and one morning they get the chance to relive it all, only for them to choose to stay together and live slow life filled with love. My heart is full, and for a better life, we should all watch and appreciate this piece of art.
わっちは堅牢ほろ誇り高きを
This spring, romance fans will eat because among a ton of new promising shows, Spice and Wolf returns as well. When I tell you I screamed when I saw that the reboot was coming out. I don't know what's with spring season of 2024 and bringing back all the great shows I thought I would never see again, but I'm loving it. If you by any chance have missed the original from 2008, watch it ASAP. I believe this reboot will be similar to One Fruits Basket got, so you'll probably be able to watch it without any previous knowledge, but the original was so good you need to watch it now. And for those of you who are sick of waiting for all of these to come out and need something new now, I recommend Sandland the series. In the distant future, the Earth is destroyed by war and made into a wasteland, while the only source of water is controlled by a greedy king. Therefore, Sheriff Rao asks the Demon King for help, and from him he gets the king's son Beelzebub and his assistant Thief. This unusual group embarks on an adventure to find a long-lost lake while fighting various creatures as well as King's army. I believe many of you have already heard about this story. After all, it is a manga by a legendary Akira Toriyama who was known for writing great adventures and fights as well as great comic scenes. On April 25, the long-awaited Sandland game will be released, and I think you can already pre-order it on Steam. And if that's not enough for you, you can also watch this video where I recommend another underrated show Akira Toriyama worked on. You also can like and subscribe. That would work really well for me.